Nassau County has never had a greater champion for children than Laura, a former school board member, a devoted mom, and a fighter for the next generation. I want to thank Presiding Officer Nicolello for his unwavering support of this legislation, Minority Leader Abrahams for his consistent guidance and mentorship, Deputy County Executive Rose Louder, Police Commissioner Patrick Ryder, thanks for coming, Pat, and of course my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, Legislators Ellen Birnbaum, Laura Schaefer, and Stephen Rhodes. Of course, I want to thank the Long Island Coalition Against Bullying and its Executive Director, Joseph Salamone, for approaching me with this idea a few months back. And I want to thank Pride for Youth, Sally Hui, and our brave young people who testified about their own bouts with bullying in front of the legislature. And for those of you viewing at home, we ask you that you use the hashtag NassauStopBullying to share with your friends and neighbors as we hope to spread our message of spreading kindness to others. Today is a bittersweet day. It's a sad day because we are once again reminded of the harrowing consequences that bullying inflicts on our youngest members of society. We have heard the gut-wrenching testimony of what it's like for some youths to go to school on Long Island in the 21st century. But today is also a happy day because we rejoice in hope. Because, as my friend Andy Malakoff says, politicians cannot legislate hope, but hope can be given to others through legislation. This bill means that we have brought together a broad coalition of stakeholders, including police officers, social workers, parents, teachers, and students, to take meaningful action that will make a difference in the lives of others. This bill means that no longer will parents, children, and community leaders in times of adversity and difficulty have to struggle to find the resources they need to help themselves or to help a loved one. This bill means that NassauStopBullying.gov will be a bright beacon of information to teach our next generation about the signs that someone is being bullied, the dangers of being a bystander, specific resources for our LGBTQ youth, and links to get help now when it is needed most. And we are not so naive as to believe this bill will eradicate bullying, but we are indeed buoyed by the specter of hope that this bill brings. We are emboldened by the prospects this bill brings to forge a kinder and more gentle society. And we are taking a major leap forward in Nassau County, arm in arm with our elected officials and police and students and parents alike, to say enough is enough and that no child, nowhere, no how should be made to feel anything less than their true value. And to conclude, I hope that this bill is a symbol for us all as citizens of this great nation to modify our behavior going forward. At a time when our conversations have primarily shifted from in-person to social media, we have never been so interconnected, yet so removed from one another. We need to come together as one, to put aside differences and to once again treat those around us as neighbors and as Americans. We need to remember that there is truly more that unites us than divides us, and that only in a true democracy does everybody come together, and nobody gets left behind. Thank you very much, and now I'm excited to introduce our County Executive, Laura Curran.
Thank you very much, Josh. And Josh is out of the gate with another piece of legislation that has gotten bipartisan support, and I couldn't be happier. I mean, it's very simple. Kindness. A little more kindness in our world. And Josh brought up social media, which I think is a wonderful thing. It brings out the best of us, but it also brings out the worst in way too many of us. It's a place where people can say terrible things with very little accountability. And the thing that I like about this legislation is it's one-stop shopping. It's a place where anyone can go. If you need to know what police resources are available, there is a tab for that. If you are part of the LGBTQ community, there is a tab for that. If you want to know who in your school district is in charge of Dignity for, what is it? DASA, Dignity for All Students, which is a state mandate, there is a tab for that because often people don't know who it is in their school district. That is a wonderful thing. So I'm very happy to be signing this today, and anything that we can do to spread a little more kindness and gentleness in our society, I am all for. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'd now like to bring up Legislator Ellen Birnbaum, legislator for the 10th District.
volunteer myself, trained through the organization CAPS, Child Abuse Prevention Services. I've been before many students in classrooms in the middle school, and I know how mean other children could be to their peers. At the time when I was doing this, what we would teach the students is say something, speak out, speak to a parent, speak to a teacher, speak to somebody in your school. But that's not easy to do for a student, not easy at all, and many times the bully gets away with this. But I'm so proud to stand here today with my fellow legislator, Lafazan, and County Executive Curran in the signing of this bill. This will give schools and all families in the county a resource, an important resource in combating bullying, which is a huge problem. It faces everyone. In this technology-driven 21st century, it's imperative that we harness the internet's ability to connect with young people, no matter their age, their gender, their race, their sexual orientation, or any other identity. I commend the efforts of all those who are involved in this bill, and I look forward to a newer, more connected Nassau County, where all youth feel protected from bullying and have the ability to get help when they need it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Helen. It's my pleasure to now introduce my friend, Nassau County Legislator for the 14th District, Laura Schaefer.
Thank you very much. I certainly want to commend Legislator Lafazan and our county executive for bringing this together and for being here today and showing all the support they have, and certainly Legislator Lafazan for just coming up with this idea in conjunction with Mr. Solomon there. It's such an important piece of legislation, and it's such an important thing to push forward in our county now. I think that this one is easy enough to speak about from the heart, because we were all young once. If you're not one of the young people in the room, it really wasn't that far off, and you can remember what it was like and how difficult it is growing up. It's difficult in our generation. People that are growing up now, they have the internet, they have social media, and it adds a whole other level that we didn't have to experience, we didn't have to deal with. While there are some positives, as the county executive said, there are certainly some negatives we've seen, and that brings us to this day here in this legislation that Legislator Lafazan has put forth. I think that it's very important that we're doing it here in Nassau County. If they don't have it elsewhere, they should take heed, and they should definitely start implementing it in other places, because what we need for our young people today is positivity. They need to know their value. They need to know how difficult life can be, but that they can get through it, and that they have support 24/7. There can't be any feeling ever of, I'm alone, I have nowhere to go, I don't know what to do, and I don't know who to report to. That's the way things used to be, not anymore, due to this legislation. So thanks everybody for being here, and thank you again for all your support.
Thank you, Laura. We actually have a last-minute addition. We have my colleague Stephen Rose from the 19th District. Steve.
Congratulations to Legislator Lafazan. You know, I have the honor of being a youth pastor, which is kind of strange for somebody that's involved in politics. But it's given me a sort of unique perspective on the challenges that our youth face today. It's very different. Now, I'm going to be 50 years old this year. I know, Josh, you're quite far removed from that. But it is an entirely different world. And the county executive and Legislator Schaefer brought up the influence of social media and how little accountability there is and how dangerous it can be when it's used improperly. The opportunities for bullying is no longer face-to-face. The opportunities for bullying is now on the internet, is now on Facebook, is now on Instagram, Snapchat. That's what you kids use today, right? all of those media. It's a wonderful tool, but it's also a dangerous weapon when it's used improperly. And providing the opportunity for kids and for parents and for community leaders a one-stop access to be able to get the information that they need about resources that are available is so critically important. And it's also important that we're working together in a bipartisan fashion. You know, whether it's protecting Little Leagues and PALs, whether it's legislation about information on substance abuse, which will be the next challenge that both Legislator Schaefer and Legislator Lafazan are tackling, or certainly this issue. It's important to send the message that we as a Nassau County speak with one voice when it comes to this, when it comes to protecting our kids and when it comes to protecting our youth. There's time for political debate and discussion on a whole bunch of other topics, and I'm sure that there will be. But when it comes to this, we stand together, we stand united, and we stand for our kids and protecting them and making sure that they have access to the resources that they need. So again, I want to thank Legislator Lafazan. I want to thank the Long Island Coalition for their amazing work in suggesting this legislation, for the cooperation of the police department, and obviously for our county executive for signing this important legislation. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Legislator Rhodes. So Laura's done some amazing things, but I think one of the best things you've done is appoint the gentleman to my right as Police Commissioner. Patrick J. Ryder, would you mind coming up and saying a few words? Thank you very much.
Good morning. One of the first mandates that came from the county exec and our legislators is that make sure that we have better relationships with our community. We came out with a Commissioners Community Council, and it's been growing every day, and our reach is further into those communities. There's no more important group than the youth in our society today. This website and this bill, when it is signed, will help them both have a voice that they can speak out and an avenue that they can go for resources and help. And the police department will continue to have a zero tolerance and support all of the programs that help support the foundation of our society, and that is our youth. So we'll work very hard to help the legislation get passed and to make sure that we get the website up and running as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for all your help in building this website. It's going to be an amazing resource for kids. Joseph Salamone came to me with this idea. He is the Executive Director of the Long Island Coalition Against Bullying, and from an idea over dinner a couple months ago, this is actually becoming law in a few minutes. I want to bring Joe up.
Thank you to Legislator Lafazan and, of course, County Executive Curran. Thank you, Josh, to your staff for their leadership on the issue and for you championing this cause. To all the members, fellow members of the legislature for unanimously passing this bill. It's great that there's at least one thing we know that could be bipartisan. And to the members of the community that are here today and those unable to be with us who have advocated for the bill's passage. Today is a great day in the progress against bullying. In 2018, technology infuses every part of our lives. However, while the growth in technology and digitization is often viewed as a good thing, when it comes to bullying, it represents the most dangerous of times. Types of harassment that did not exist less than a generation ago are now considered norm. And bullies can all too easily veil themselves behind a computer or an iPhone screen. 20 years ago, when I was the victim of adolescent bullying, my parents and I were desperate for help and for information. While the manner of bullying has changed, this need remains the same. Former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan once said that, quote, knowledge is power, information is liberating, education is the premise of progress in every society and in every family. Bullies feed off of power imbalances that they perceive give them control and a lack of information and awareness that they count on to keep their victims helpless. Today, with the creation of NassauStopBullying.gov, Nassau County is providing the knowledge needed to fight back and the information needed to liberate. However, now is the time to get started on acting and making sure that this website dots every I and crosses every T to do as much as it can to actually achieve its intended purpose. To that end, my organization is proud to pledge and facilitate a $10,000 awareness campaign from our own budget to make sure that Nassau County residents know that the site exists and to encourage its usage. Thank you once again to everybody who have helped make this possible.
Thank you very much, Joe. And this website actually, with the help of the County Executive's Administration and the Police Department, will be up and running before the school starts, and that $10,000 will be used for a PSA, so every parent and child in Nassau County knows that this website exists. It's now my privilege to bring up somebody who is truly extraordinary. She is a rising junior at Syosset High School who is making a difference when it comes to bullying and mental health. I'm proud to call her a constituent. I'm lucky to call her a friend. We'll bring up Sally Hui.
Hello, my name is Sally Hui, as Josh said. my junior year at NassauStopBullying.gov High School and my 12th year as a Girl Scout. Thank you so much for having me here today. As a Girl Scout this year, I am earning my Gold Award, and my project is going to be to work as a team with the psychologists, counselors, and teachers at NassauStopBullying High School to strengthen our mental wellness program. A big part of this mental wellness program is education. So this anti-bullying website is going to be a great resource because it's going to show students and parents where to go to get help, how to get help, and how to give help if they're struggling from bullying. I feel so lucky to be living in a community that cares so much for the younger generations and to have such a great government that puts legislation into action that will ultimately save lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sally. And I look forward to working on your presidential campaign, I think in 30 or 40 years from now. As I do consistently at these gatherings, I just want to end with one of my favorite quotes, which I believe perfectly encapsulates today's proceedings. It's a picture of a turtle, and beneath the turtle it says, "Behold the turtle, for he only progresses when his neck is out." And I find that to be truly profound because everyone behind me stuck their necks out for kids. And from the county executive to my colleagues in the legislature to Sally and LICAB and Pride for Youth, these folks stick their necks out for kids every day. They are amongst the people I admire most and people I'm proud to call my friends. And they've shown us, as I strive to emulate through my own example, the world that we can forge together when we work to ensure the fair treatment of others. And now I think it's time that we sign this bill into law.
All right.
What do you say? All right. We'll bring you guys all over.
All right, let me know when you're ready. So I sign all of them?
We gotta keep a couple copies. We gotta give one to Sally.
All right, you ready? I'll do them all and then I'll hold one.
I gotta give one to Mom.
Yeah, of course. All right. Oh, wait. I'll do the rest later.